I didn't see you there.
Something big is going on here.
From hunting ghosts to Bigfoot,
paranormal, UFOs, true crime, and more.
We won't just be spouting articles.
I was researching for your entertainment.
The beginning of a new world.
The best guac you'll ever fucking eat.
True story.
It's basically like one day you walk outside and you see that the ants are playing with matches.
This is the Black Cat
Report.
Report. See you on the other side.
He pulled up his sleeve and injected the water and cocaine mixture into his arm. Feeling a rush of excitement and pleasure, he continues driving around the freeway, his stomping grounds. Blasting his favorite band, AC/DC, the Midnight Stalker is about to earn his moniker. Satan was calling him, and it was time for blood. Richard was on the highway to hell, which felt easier to him than the stairway to heaven, and it was time to give the devil his sacrifice. Richard Ramirez was about to stalk.
What an intro.
Woo! Chills.
Welcome to the Black Cat Report and part 2 of our 4-part series on Richard Ramirez. I am Betsabe, your host, and with me is Selena,
Hello.
Joey,
Ayo!
and Gil.
Hello.
And just as a warning, this episode contains extreme violence, murder, and rape. If you find this triggering, you may want to skip this episode. If you continue listening, please crack a beer, smoke a joint, or anything to get you through this dive into a torment mind. Okay. On June 28, 1984, under the cover of night, Richard Ramirez approached the 2-story pink apartment building in Glassell Park, LA. Looking at the apartments, he decided not to go to the back apartments, as he would be trapped and couldn't escape. Such as he learned from the teaching of his brother, Miguel and Ruben. So he walked back towards the street. He laid his eyes on apartment 2, and there he would commit the first of his admitted murders. As Richard got closer, he noticed the window was open, but there was a seam in the closed window. He struggled for a tiny bit trying to open the screen because of his gloves and coming down from his cocaine high. He took off one of his gloves to pry the screen loose. He put it down inside the apartment and then slid right into the apartment. Richard noticed the poverty that Jenny was living in. This made him mad because his sole intention was to break in to steal and pawn some items. It was a 1-bedroom apartment, and he saw Jenny laying on the bed. He slowly crept around the room, using a pen light to check for any type of valuables. He checked a suitcase and a dresser, but could not find anything of value. Getting more and more angry, he approached the bed, holding a 6-inch hunting knife. He stood over her, getting more and more sexually excited. He started plunging the knife into her chest over and over. She woke up and started screaming and trying to fight back, but Richard put his hand over her mouth and continued stabbing her. Then he took the knife and sliced her throat. She started choking on her blood and then died. He then stabbed her 3 more times. Slowly, he got more and more excited, thinking about what he had done. So he pleasured himself looking at her, stole a radio, and then left. As Richard drove away, he pulled up next to a police cruiser. He was covered in blood, and his heart was racing. The police cruiser took a turn away, and Richard was home free. The next day, Jenny's son Jack, who lived in the same building, came to visit his mom and found her lying dead on her bed.
Oh my gosh.
Whew, that was hard to read.
Yeah, that's awful.
So one of the things that was like a interesting point in this, which is crazy, is that he took his gloves off to take the screen off. So that's gonna come later in the the 4th episode, is that he left fingerprints at the crime.
Yeah. He literally thought that Satan was protecting him and keeping him invisible.
Okay, buddy.
Like he wasn't like, yeah, he wasn't like a regular Satanist. He was like, no, Satan loves me and Satan is going to protect me because I'm giving him sacrifices.
Yep.
So that's why he took his glove off. He's like, nothing's gonna fucking happen.
Mm-hmm.
There had been so many times where he had run in with cops. Like, he actually got stopped by a cop once, and they joked with him.
Yep.
Like, you know?
Yep.
But as we know, Satan only helps those that help themselves. And, you know, he's
the
just
devil
starting to
will
slip.
find work for idle hands to do.
That's what he learned from Anton LaVey when he met him.
Yeah, this guy's sick.
Mhm.
Well, and actually talking about the fact that he thought Satan was protecting him and he could do anything. At this time, Richard had decided he wanted to swear off cocaine as he didn't want to be caught for his crimes, since cocaine made him make mistakes and become paranoid. So he bought a 22 revolver from a seller at the bus terminal, where he used to hang out all the time. And then he stole a car from a gas station. Then he continued cruising around the city looking for his next mark. He at this time had decided that he was going to start murdering instead of just, the intentional robbery. Blasting AC/DC's Highway to Hell in all black with a dark blue AC/DC baseball cap, he was about to meet his next victims. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Buckle in, motherfuckers.
Yes. On March 17, 1985, Richard saw Maria Hernandez driving on the freeway in a gold Camaro from her boyfriend in Monterey Park. He exited just behind her off the freeway into the suburb of Rosemead. Following her, he saw her pull into the parking space in the garage right next to her condominium. She shared with her roommate Del Ocasasi. As Maria got out of her car, she closed the garage door silently and skillfully. Richard bent over to get underneath the garage door, pointing the 22 at her. As if this was a movie, the lights went out and Richard shot. The bullet bounced off her keys in her hand. She was injured but not dead. So Maria laid there and pretended to be dead. Richard walked into the house and into the kitchen. Dell came into the kitchen. Richard hid behind a cabinet trying to make sure he wasn't seen. She left for a few minutes and then came back into the kitchen. This time Richard had squared up and was waiting. He shot her right in the forehead. He turned around and walked right through the front door. Looking to his left, he saw Maria, who had gotten up and went to the front of the house. He pointed the gun at her and then decided not to kill her and got into the car and left. Wow.
Yeah. I have no idea why he decided not to kill her. It did say that he was very spooked that he saw her again because he thought he'd kill her in the beginning, so he got really spooked. And later on, you kind of see how like spiritual towards the devil that he is, and like seeing different things in his eyes, like, oh, like if she's still alive, like this is meant by Satan for her to be alive, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think he was also the one that was going around and checking houses. If they were locked, he wouldn't go because it wasn't meant to be, but if it was unlocked, that's where Satan wanted him to go kill.
He did do that, and then sometimes he was like, this is the one. Like he'd decide and get in some ways, like with locked doors or painted over things. So it's very
he
weird.
He was full of shit. He was full of shit.
Yeah,
he
so
just
weird.
made excuses for everything he wanted to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, sick guy for sure.
Also, I just want to say he's an idiot if he thinks that he like killed that person with a 22.
I was gonna ask Gil to talk about what a 22 bullet is like, because that's a little shit bullet. Like
It's a baby.
it's like a BB gun pellet.
I mean, it's it's between like a pellet gun and like a regular bullet that you would think of, but like it's smaller than like a mechanical pencil, like in like thickness or whatever, than like a mechanical pen. Like they're very tiny. They suck to get shot with because if they do go into like your abdomen or something, they start bouncing around inside of you. There isn't like the traditional like exit wound where like you get shot with the bullet. There'll be like a small puncture wound on the front end where the bullet comes in, and then there'll be an exit wound that's big where the bullet goes out from behind you, where it just tears through you. A 22 will just like bounce around. Like you might die from like internal bleeding eventually. You know, but that's like key is like eventually, like you don't, it's not immediate. Like if you were gonna go like rabbit hunting or squirrel hunting, it's perfect for that, but like you know, anything bigger than that and you're gonna have to put a few
Human
rounds in it.
hunting, forget about it.
Yeah, like even there's a lot of folks that survive and like not pleasantly survive, but there's a lot of folks that survive like headshots with 22s. Because like 22s, if they don't hit just right, will literally just bounce off of your skull. Like, you know, like they're most of the time they're not, unless it's like a 22 long, but like there's not a lot of penetration power. It's not going to tear you up. It's a stupid gun to go on a murder spree with. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for
He's
sharing your knowledge.
He's an idiot. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, he kept being an idiot. So Richard left no time in between killings. Right after killing Dale and leaving Maria alive, he pulled onto the San Bernardino freeway. As he was driving, he spotted Sally and Yu. Exiting the freeway at Monterey Park, Richard charged from the last murder barely an hour or so earlier. He followed her back to her home. She noticed that he was following her, so she pulled over and waited for him to pass her by and to get a good look at the person following her.
Smart.
He passed her and yes, very smart. He passed her and continued driving, cursing her under his breath. She started driving again. This time she was following him.
Hell
After
yeah.
about I know, I love that.
And she got a 38, motherfucker.
Now she got an AK strapped.
Yeah, no, this is actually a good idea, and I've done this before. Especially you like knowing how the person looks like you need to for sure.
Yeah, I've been followed home a lot, like growing up. So I had to like figure out diverting tactics. Yeah. Smart Goyle.
After about 1 block, he caught a red light. He turned off the lights and got out of the car. He had his 22 in his jacket. Salian asked him, "Why you followed me?" He replied, "I thought I knew you." She threatened to call the police. An argument ensued. He moved to the car and tried to pull her out of the car. He couldn't pull her out. He jumped over to the other side of the car and hopped into the passenger side. He said nothing when she asked what he wanted. He pulled out the 22 and shot her under the right arm. She tried to get out, but he shot her in the back again. He hurriedly got back into his car and drove away. She was lying bleeding out and dying in the street. She was pronounced dead in the Monterey Park Hospital.
Yeah. As you said, Gil, like in most weapons, they would kill them pretty quickly if they got shot, in those areas. But with the 22, most of these people bled out and died in the hospital. Like they were able to get them to the hospital, but they couldn't save them because the bullet would bounce around on the inside of them and hit their major organs, and they would just be in and out of comas and then die. Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that she was probably there for like a good hour or two before the cops even found her. Like,
Well, the cops got there pretty quickly.
really?
Because there was a as we'll find out later, like in the when they catch him episode, is that there was people that saw this and they called the police pretty immediately. I think within 30 to 45 minutes the first responders got there, which was quick. But then they tried. This was the weirdest thing. They tried to question her while she was there. The police tried to question her why she was there bleeding. It was so weird.
So let's no.
We need more
Let's not
info.
assume that the police have any empathy.
Yeah.
And let's also assume that police are like, I have a fucking deadline. We need to catch this guy. She's not going to make it. We need to figure this out now.
That's true.
Do you really think the police give a shit?
Maybe not at this time, because she was also, I think she was from Taiwan. So in the LA area.
Oh,
so
yeah. And,
really
race relations with police have just totally changed.
Yeah.
So it must be different.
A little
so
bit,
glad,
but not that much different.
So glad we got over all racial problems in this country. Since
I know.
Y'all remember those times. Ugh.
2023 has been a
Crazy.
year.
All right. So what number are we up to now in terms of victims? Is this 3?
3.
3. Yeah, there's 1 still alive and 2 dead.
Okay.
Throughout the 10 days in between murders, he did some soul searching and decided that he was going to, steal enough money to buy his own house and set up a torture room.
Went to Joshua Tree, drank some ayahuasca, listened to Leonard Skinner.
Yeah,
put together a dream board in the desert.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that
his
he
life.
said his dream board, his started just juicing every day. Had to drop a few pounds.
He's like, cocaine. I think I'm gonna try mushroom coffee.
He wanted to set up a torture room so he can do, his killing and raping as he pleased. And
he wanted to work from home. He wanted to work from home. He really was kind of a visionary.
Yeah. Yes.
The early days.
He started the trend. He thought he could film it and start selling films to keep up his income. He needs to make money.
You call it an office. You call it a torture room, but he calls it an office.
But I call it home.
Yeah. Or ironically, we call it the guest room.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he wanted, to have his own place so he can do his things, and obviously he's thinking about, the fact that he needs to make money to pay for all this. Because if you think about it, he basically turned this into a full-time job.
If you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. And Richard Ramirez found his niche and he pursued it. And now he's got dreams of building his own little mini empire house. And
he made that niche his bitch.
Yeah. Right? Do you realize how expensive gas is getting at the time? This was a smart move.
I want to say this too, that he got off of cocaine and drugs besides smoking marijuana, that to do his career. He was just like, nah, it's messing me up. I'm addicted
He's like,
to
it's
this.
distracting me from my primary focus, which is murder.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty big right there, honestly. This is how messed up he was, that he was able to quit very addictive drugs, to kill. Wow. Talking about killing, on March 26, 1985, Richard, cruising his normal freeway, he remembered that he had robbed a wealthy house at a neighborhood called Whittier. At 2 a.m., he rolled up to the house of Vincent and Maxine Zazara. The stolen car Richard had was the only car parked on the street. The night was quiet and dark. The house was only a one-story brick house and had two large bay windows that faced the road. Richard approached the lighted bay window and saw Vincent sleeping on a plaid couch. Vincent had fallen asleep watching television. Richard walked to the backyard and looked through the back window and saw Maxine sleeping in bed. He then started trying to open up windows and could not as they were all locked. Richard found a small window higher up on the house than the other windows. Grabbing a compound can under the window, he used it to stand on to take up the screen.
What's a compound can?
I don't know.
I think it's compost, but that's what they called it in the story.
Ah.
Yeah, I've
He
never
tried
heard of
it.
a compound can.
I haven't either.
We're the experts.
I know every kind of can there is.
He pried open the window and then slipped into the house. He looked around and saw that he was in the washer and dryer room. He reached down and took off his shoes. Slowly he crept into the living room where Vincent was sleeping. Holding the gun up, he rushed comeback style into the room and shot Vincent in the left side of his head above the ear. Vincent tried to get up and grab Richard, but he fell to the floor. Richard moved into the bedroom quickly. Maxine woke up with the .22 pistol in her face. Richard beat her, then forced her on her stomach and tied her hands with a necktie that was nearby. He gagged her, unhooked the phones, and then started searching the house for valuables. Maxine slowly untied the necktie on her hands, then slid off the bed and grabbed the shotgun that was under the bed. She pulled it up She pulled it up as Richard was ransacking their house and aimed at him. With all her willpower, she pulled the trigger and clicked. Nothing.
Damn it.
Oh no, I remember this.
She did not know that Vincent had emptied the gun when their grandkids visited the week before.
So responsible.
I know. Richard then raised the .22 to her and shot her 3 times. He then beat her. Getting up, he went to the kitchen and found a knife. Came back and then cut her open. He tried to rip out her heart but could not due to her rib cage. The knife cuts he made left an inverted cross on her chest. So instead of her heart, he settled for her eyes. He cut off her eyelids and then took out her eyes. He put the eyes in a little jewelry box he found. He then tried to rape her but could not. He took the shotgun and the jewelry box with the eye in it and left. As he was driving away, a police car pulled behind him, but again turned away, and Richard drove off still free to murder. Jesus, all the wrong things.
Terrible.
So he tried to rape her, but he couldn't get it up. And like I don't know why, like there's something about that he wasn't sexually charged enough with this murder. So
it seemed like he was focusing more on stealing this time than the actual murder rape thing.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah.
Because he took the eyes with him.
Yeah. That's when he starts to collect his trophies.
This is just a lesson that you should always leave a loaded gun laying around your house. That's how I took it. Because if that shotgun
just
was
lock
loaded,
the kids out of the room.
Yeah. Just don't have
just
kids.
Say, you don't go into mommy and daddy's room, kids. There's a fucking gun in there and you could die. And then they're like, ah.
Or
and
just
they
don't
never
have
go
kids.
inside.
Just don't have kids.
Yeah. Just lock them outside of the house.
Yeah, but how did they get grandkids? By having kids. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah.
So this episode's about preventing like people
Babies.
having kids. Yes. Don't have
Get your vasectomy at Planned Parenthood.
No.
Yeah.
no.
Yep. Because then if you don't have kids, then there wouldn't be any Richard Ramirez's running around.
It's true.
True.
And the
Yeah.
world is dying, so why would you want to bring another person
Yeah, why
into
would
it?
you want to do that?
Yeah.
The world is
Take
pulling
one
a
that's
giant
already
Richard
here.
Ramirez on us right now. And we all
Seriously.
just need to chill out.
No, we pulled a Richard Ramirez on Earth, and now she's dying.
I just want to say that not all babies are Richard Ramirez's. So I just want to clarify that too.
But all Richard Ramirez
Only babies named
were
Richard
babies.
Ramirez are Richard Ramirez's.
That's true.
Yes.
Throughout the 3-4 weeks in between his murders, Richard had been doing his normal, stealing cars and cruising around neighborhoods. He felt the need to kill again. It was time to show Satan he was serious. Okay, Richard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like this is like so hard to read because this actually happened. Like sometimes when I hear about serial killers and they make like Netflix shows or you hear from a movie or whatever, but like this actually happened in real life. This person was here on earth doing this awful stuff in the name of Satan. Like that's
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah, in a place where you used to live too, which is even
I
wilder.
know,
Yeah,
like all
you
these
know these
places.
neighborhoods. Yeah,
I know
every
these
time I see it,
neighborhoods.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
both
I
of
was
you.
there.
because Monrovia is definitely in here too.
Yeah,
I know all those places. I
Both
grew
of
up in
you guys.
California.
Yeah.
Eagle Rock.
Eagle
Mhm.
Rock.
Yeah, I went to high school in Eagle Rock.
Like we walked the streets.
I
for
lived in
this
Eagle Rock for a
demon
couple
walk.
years.
I think it was about
Yeah.
3 to 4 years before you guys were born too.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
I was born in 93.
Oh, sorry, almost 10 years, 7 years,
89.
8 years.
Whoop.
On May 14, 1985, he drove through the Monterey Park neighborhood and decided that he would go into William Doy's house. He had gotten rid of the .22 revolver and bought a silver .22 automatic. Ooh.
This dude's an idiot.
He really is. Yeah.
Like, just get a 45 like a normal person, for the love of God.
I would
Well,
imagine
he
though that
couldn't
it's actually
afford it,
quieter.
though.
No, a 22 is super quiet, but like not if you have to shoot it 4 times to kill one person.
True, yeah.
Like,
But
I
also,
just wanna-
where is he getting the money for this? Like, he could not afford.
He's
that.
robbing.
He
He's robbing people
steals.
and,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
selling
right,
the
I
stuff. So
forget.
that's how he gets all this stuff. Plus, he gets it probably on the cheap because he's getting it from people that are not asking for
Alive?
information. Yeah,
Oh.
alive either. Too. Well, he's buying the stuff from his pawns, like people he's fencing all this
Mhm.
Yeah.
stolen stuff. So like
Yeah.
it's probably cheaper, and they're probably scared of him because
yeah.
he doesn't look like he's sane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he rotted all of his teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
He had like medically terrible breath,
Ew. Yeah.
Yep.
and he was like scrawny.
So gross.
It's like a methed
well-
out Kermit the Frog.
The only good thing about him was his hair.
Yeah.
Somehow stayed
100%.
perfect.
Mhm.
All
He didn't deserve
all,
it.
all of his nutrients just went to his hair.
Yep.
Like when your body shuts down and it's just like, no, we're just gonna sacrifice the arm, and you don't really have a choice in that because your body just like shuts down and it's like, nope, bye arm, frostbite. Then your leg and your feet and da 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 da. The last thing for Richard Ramirez to be left would be his hair. His immaculate hair would be found on the side of Mount Everest with a dumbass 22 sitting next to it. Fucking
That's a
moron.
bay.
Yeah.
He's actually a pelon pelo rico.
What is that
KS.
for us? For
It's
for
a
the
it's a
Pringles.
Mexican candy that has little holes on the top and a little face on the sides and little like stems on the side to push down. The candy's inside in a little tube and it pushes out and the hair grows and it's candy hair that grows.
And you eat it.
Okay. Okay.
It's delicious.
And not nutritious, but
Not nutritious. That's what they look like. Mexican candy is all
Yo,
about
that looks
salt.
like a butt plug. Yo, that straight up
It
looks like a butt
does.
plug.
It does. Oh my god.
Well, you take the top
yes.
off and you put it in your mouth and suck it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a butt plug. That is
Oh
a
my
candy
God.
butt
And for
plug.
those diehard fans, you rip that shit apart and you lick both sides. You lick the inside and the outside.
So now he's got a stupid ass silver 22.
Yeah, and more stupid, he used the sounds of the rain and storm to cover up the noise. Like, okay, is that enough to cover the noise of a gunshot?
From a
I just
22,
imagine
yeah.
like you know Emperor's New Groove and like Kronk when he was doing his thing, he's like do 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 and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
waiting
yeah,
for
yeah.
things to like make noise.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
how he was.
Mhm.
Oh my god, I love that. Yeah, because he was like creeping into the backyard and he noticed there was a pair of locked sliding glass doors and alarm wires around the windows, but he found one window without an alarm. So he cut the screen out and removed it. Then he
Oh
pushed
my
the
God.
window up. After climbing into the bathroom, Richard paused for a moment to make sure he wasn't hurt. After settling
Oh, God.
himself, he started moving through the house. He found Lillian Doyle lying in bed. Then he moved to the next bedroom and saw William Doyle. He raised the gun and cocked it. William heard this, woke up, and grabbed his 9mm in the nightstand. He was too slow. Richard ran into the bedroom and shot William in the head, right through the tongue. Just above the upper lip, Richard tried to shoot again, but then gun jammed. He moved to the hallway, cleared the chamber, then came back and beat William unconscious. Richard then moved to Lillian's room, tied her up, and beat her up. He then moved to start ransacking the house. After he finished taking things to sell, he returned to Lillian's room and then raped her. After he finished, he kissed her and then left the house. William Doyle crawled to Lillian's room barely alive and called the police. William Doyle was pronounced dead at the hospital at 5:29 a.m. in Monterey Park.
Aww.
Oof.
Yeah. The hardest, the
He
most
called them
horrible
to
thing.
save his wife or
Yeah, he knew he was
Aw.
gonna die, so he called, like, somehow with all the strength he had to get crawled in there and called the police. And
Ugh,
then
my
the
heart.
most horrible thing that I think that ruined, that like even makes it worse, and he knew he was doing this, was when he kissed her. He kissed her on the forehead too.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Like, and then just left. Like, in all of these, he literally walks out the front door like
Yeah.
nothing had happened, to say like, I own this, you know, like I own this
Mhm.
house. And
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my God. Like, I feel like to me, this one was like a really heavy one. Like, it just feels so personal too.
He's getting more
Mhm.
personal, which is just like, it
He
slowly
is.
builds, because he's feeling like he's, as Selena said, he's becoming more invincible. He's feeling like he's figuring out his like modus operandi. Basically, he's saying like, this
Mhm.
is what I'm gonna do, this is my motive, this is my my style of how I'm gonna do things. And
Mhm. Take
yeah.
out the man first, and then I can
Mhm.
do whatever I want with the woman.
Yep.
Yeah, he's finding his way through his killings.
Mhm.
Also,
Because
what about the hospital? Like, they're seeing all these people come in, so like, you know, one after the other in Monterey Hospital.
I think they just, like, at this point they don't think it's a serial killer, because there's difference enough in his killings that it's not like it's not known that it's a serial killer yet. Like they haven't been like, okay, this is exactly the profile of the serial killer, and there hasn't
Yeah,
been
and
enough evidence to say
most
that it's one person.
most of the victims have been people of color, so they're
Mhm.
not being investigated very heavily.
100%.
And they're being written off as like gang violence and like whatever bullshit. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they didn't give a shit about what was happening to people that weren't rich white people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, however, about to be a guy that steps in. Two guys that step in, and we'll find out in the 4th episode what they
At least
start.
2 guys in the whole of Los
Yep.
Angeles.
2 detectives, and the really, really, really good detective found the serial killer earlier. Like he was famous for finding another serial killer, like just I think 3-4 years earlier. And so he comes in later on after they start putting these things together, and it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Finally.
you just have to wait.
There's always one person, usually.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yep.
If they don't get fired or hazed out of their job.
Just like Slivko. That was terrible.
On May 29, 1985, at 11:40 p.m., Richard was driving a gray Mercedes sedan he stole from the Velvet Turtle restaurant. The first house he came up to was Mabel Bell's house. He decided to see if he could scope out any other houses, but couldn't find one for about a half a mile. So he turned around and decided that he will go into the first house on the block. He walked up to the front door and opened the door. The front door was unlocked. This is one thing that I know this was like back in the 70s and 80s, but people just leaving the door unlocked blows my mind. Like, especially the ones that have all the security, like whatever fancy stuff, but then like the front door is unlocked or they leave one window unlocked. It's like, why you have all the security but do that, you know?
Yeah.
Selena,
Like, I know
left
it's
the
your
front door
house.
unlocked.
There you go.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know.
You want me to get
Why?
kidnapped?
You're in
I'm just letting
Asheville.
you
It's
know.
not safe.
No big deal.
See, all these people thought they were good and they left the doors.
Yeah, it was a
unlocked.
very this is never gonna happen to me kind of a thing.
Exactly. Like,
Yep.
no. Don't do that. Please, right now, if you're listening to this episode, go make sure
Go lock your doors.
locked. Yeah.
See, this is why it's difficult for a serial killer to work on Selena and I. And this is a challenge. I sit outside by the front door until like 3 or 4 in the morning almost every single night. So good luck, bitch. Good luck. I'm awake. I'm waiting for you.
Don't mess with Gil.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
The whole time, like, everybody in my house gets murdered, and I'm just outside smoking, like, any minute now. Any fucking minute.
They never come through the back door.
Never gonna get me.
And yeah, I mean, the front door of this house was unlocked, as we will see with a lot of his crimes. He walked into the house, took out a flashlight, and made his way to the bedrooms. He found Florence laying in the first bedroom. He went to the next bedroom and found Mabel Bell. He searched the rest of the house looking for valuables. Noticing that they were not well off and had nothing of value for him, so he got angry. He found a red wood handle hammer, then walked into Florence Lang's bedroom and struck her repeatedly in the head with the hammer.
How are you gonna
And
get
he
mad at
was-
somebody for being poor?
I know.
No,
He
don't
was
answer
poor.
that.
Sorry.
I know. I'm just like, he's just like, ugh, you're not rich. Murder, murder, murder. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck, dude?
It's like, ew, you're poor. Yeah, like, obviously we're starting to see that he has some anger issues because that's not the way
Poquito.
you react.
Yeah.
Like, to
Mhm.
people that don't have money or things that you need to steal. Like yeah, he has anger
I mean,
issues.
literally, you're stealing.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
Things that you need to steal. Like, you're not stealing diapers or formula.
Yeah.
You know, you're you're stealing stereos and cars.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not the same.
No. Then he used a piece of the core of the alarm clock to tie her up. He walked out of the room and into Mabel Bell's room. He raised the hammer and then struck her in the head. He struck her again after she had asked, "Who are you? I have nothing of value." He then used duct tape to bind her hands and ankles. Reaching over, he grabbed the alarm clock's cord, frayed the ends of it, then plugged it in. He then proceeded to shock her with the alarm clock again and again. He took anything
my
of
God.
value, then moved into Florence Lang's room. He then ripped her nightgown off and raped her. After this, he drew pentagrams on the back of Mabel Bell's thigh and above her bed. He also drew a pentagram on Florence Lang's wall with Mabel's red lipstick. He then ate a banana, drank a cola, and then left the house. I remember this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
So dark.
Yeah, it's like he just, I mean, yeah, he was angry obviously, but he's reaching another level because he's not just killing anybody anymore. He's also still
Torturing them.
torturing too with, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess he just got the idea by looking at the alarm clock, but he looked at it, was like, okay, cool, and then he cut it off, frayed the ends, and started shocking her. Which is just even crazier. Like, obviously this guy's crazy, but he gets pissed off, which is, I it's so interesting. Like you were saying, he gets pissed off when they don't have any money, when he takes the time to go into their house to rob them, and then kill them. Gets
because
mad that
he doesn't
they don't
have any money.
Yeah, he doesn't have any money, and then he's like, "But you don't have any money. I took all my time to
wanted
scope
money.
you out. I wanted money." But we'll also find out that some of the people that have money, he lets live.
Yeah.
And it's just like fucked up because he's like, haha, you left your window unlocked. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, we're poor. We ain't got shit to steal. Like, leave me alone.
And we don't have air conditioning.
Like, what the fuck? We ain't even got AC, dude. We need to have these windows open. Like, there's your first context clue, Richard. Second one is get a bigger caliber gun, you fucking moron. Anyway.
Pretty much. I do also want to say that another one of his nicknames, I don't like using it because it kind of makes him like he's like a kid, but was Little Richie.
Ew.
When he was young. And I hate that because it's like, first off, I don't know Little Richie, but I don't think he went crazy like this. The actual singer. So
yeah,
good for you, Little Richard. You're doing amazing. I don't know what you're doing. Hopefully you haven't done any crimes that I know of. I'll research that for the next episode. But you don't deserve to be compared to Richard Ramirez. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's going to be my next meme.
Nope.
Also, like,
I'm going to superimpose his face onto Little Richard.
Also, can he see from the houses that he's robbing from, that, you know, like, you can tell when people have money or not from the houses. Like, why is he choosing houses that look like poor people live in?
I'm just saying, like,
hey man, we just got a nice house for $15 a month, so it doesn't mean we're rich.
I
Make
mean,
sure to comment. No, but there is a difference if you're coming at it from the point of 90% of his time, especially before he got sober, he's just driving around LA high on coke, scoping out neighborhoods.
well, he's not doing cocaine anymore.
I know before he got sober, but like, I'm just saying, he literally like has just been scoping places out and driving around. You think he would have shit mapped out like, Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you think he would be like, rich neighborhood, not rich neighborhood, super
Exactly.
rich neighborhood. Like you think you would have that figured out a little bit,
Here-
especially with like a place like LA where it's like the dividing lines can be so damn hard.
Here's
Where it's just like
also
this street, boom.
I
Like
want to speak to that though. He chose neighborhoods that weren't as policed. He chose
Mhm.
neighborhoods where if he could kill the people, that he would most likely get away with it.
hmm
It's one of those things. Because if he had gone to the super, super rich houses, I do believe he would have been found like that.
super quick.
Yeah,
Because-
he would have been noticed.
He would have
He
been
was
noticed.
afraid to take on anything that was stronger than him. That's why he would immediately take down the men, and he would do whatever he wanted with the women. He would incapacitate them, but like just because he felt like he could.
I also
Yeah,
think that
you
was
know, and-
a lesson from Miguel
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
war in the he was Vietnam. Yeah, I think
Vietnam. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean that is classic like military tactics. Like you should approach things in that way, but at the same time, he's spending all this time driving around. You think he would scope shit out. Just like he gives so much attention to like other things. You think he could have just shifted
Yeah.
it towards like the actual final product, which would be shit he wants to steal. At least at
Yeah.
first. You know what I'm saying? Where you just be like, driving a nice car. Bet you they have nice shit at their house. Like something that would be like a boom boom, like 1 + 1 = 2 kind of thing. But he's just like, nope, window's open.
But
Let's go in and
it
see
was
what we
more
can
like-
find.
It was
It's
more
like,
like
don't
this
get
was
in
his
that
playground and this
battle.
is where he felt comfortable.
Yeah.
He knew those spots.
Like he knew these spots were good spots to get away with shit. He wasn't
Yeah.
going to go anywhere where he was going to be noticed, which is why he didn't go to those places that you're talking about.
That's
Yeah,
okay, but still, like, I'm sure I don't know. I'm just saying, I think folks on that street, somebody on that street might have had shit that he wanted. And he's just like not scoping shit out, and he's kind of just like going in blind. He's just like, yeah, it's a safe neighborhood for me to get away with shit. Oops, I don't have anything. Kill him and leave. Next house.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
it wasn't like he was disappointed that he had to kill them. That was something that he wanted to do anyway. So he would break in, have the excuse of, oh, you're poor, so now I'm mad,
Yeah.
and then kill them, which is what he wanted to do. And then still just take shit anyway, even if it wasn't valuable. He took somebody's fucking eyeballs.
Yeah.
Because it was valuable to him.
And even after he killed them because he was mad they
You
didn't
can get
have
a-
anything, he still took things.
You can get a few $1,000 for eyeballs.
That's good to know, actually. I mean,
I
I didn't know that.
yeah. Gil would know
Joey.
that. Gil would know that. He just was
Corniest.
losing his mind. He was getting corny, but anyways, he he was driving around, so like most of the time he would just steal cars, drive them around. Honestly, like I know I'm giving too much credit to the police force, especially in this time, because wouldn't somebody have seen him get into their car and steal it?
I do want to know about before he became a serial killer, he was a serial car thief.
Yeah.
And I'm just like really curious, especially if he's like mainly focused on these like safe neighborhoods, like Selena was just saying, like Joey was just saying, like he's kind of focused on these areas where he's comfortable with the escape, with the situation, with, police like coverage of it and stuff like that. But at some point, I mean, people got to be looking around like, oh, your car got stolen? Oh, your car got stolen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be up to like an eighth of this goddamn neighborhood's cars have been stolen and then driven around the same fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, at what point aren't neighbors just forming vigilante squads looking for their fucking Chevys? That's all I want
Right.
to know. Like,
And what's crazy is he has so many. Like, there's so many times that police get so close to catching him and so close to arresting him in these times. Like, a few of the murders, he literally was covered in blood.
Yeah.
With the weapon, with the murder weapon in the car. And a police police pull right behind him or pull beside him, look at him, and he
Literally the one time they
just
they
leaves.
don't profile. Like the
Yeah,
one time they don't fucking profile. And
Yeah.
he's just like doo doo doo, just
Yeah, no, it is funny you mentioned that because I thought about that too. The cars. It's
Yeah.
like he's
So many
driving around the
cars.
same neighborhood from where he stole the cars, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's
I
like,
want to say
okay.
though that he's got that hair, and maybe you know
Mm-hmm.
he just is kind of using that. Like, yeah, he looks like he's a demon at this point when he smiles. But if he doesn't smile, he doesn't look half bad as a person. So he maybe just is kind of like using that, like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm good looking in some ways, so like I can kind of get away with this,
Even
you
though I
know.
have terrible bath breath.
Well, they won't get close enough for him to know that.
Ugh.
It's clear when you don't smile.
Yeah.
Um, so one night later, on May 30th, 1985, he got the itch again. This time it was a medium sized house in Burbank, the home of Carol, Kyle, and her son Mark. Once he was inside, he pulled his gun and then tied up Carol. He put them into a closet, both tied up. Carol and her son were in terror. He pulled Carol out of the closet after he had tried to find all the valuables. The only thing Carol had of value was a diamond tiered necklace. He took this and then proceeded to repeatedly rape her over and over again.
Jesus.
But instead of killing her this time, he tied her up and then left, leaving her and her son tied up.
So this
Wow.
is a weird one because this, I don't know, some of it is mentioned in like documentaries, but in this one I think it was because they didn't get murdered. But he actually broke into like in Burbank, so it was a kind of a nicer house, and
Mm-hmm.
she said that that all she had was like her necklace, and like obviously he was like, you're lying, blah blah blah. And then but she was also, I think she was a psychologist, and so she recognized his psychologist or nurse. She was one of the two. I can't remember exactly what she was, but there's another one that's a psychologist. But she recognized that he needed to be in control of the situation, and like
Mm.
so she recognized that and just kind of let him take control of it, and like basically was like, please don't hurt my son, please don't hurt anybody. She also had a no, that was a different family. She let him have control of it and didn't like try to lie to him or try to like get one over on him. So she just kind of let it happen more than not, than fight him on it. And he, in his like his satanic thing, like kind of just like recognized that, okay, like I want to be in control, and then just, after he had raped her, he did it continuously over and over and over and over again, um and then let her live. So,
Yeah.
which
Why
is
do
just
you think he let her live though?
I think that he wanted to feel dominant, and she was completely submissive. She didn't try to fight him.
Mm.
And I think he just felt like he tortured her enough, and he didn't have to kill her.
Mm. Yeah. Again on the road in another stolen Toyota, Richard was cruising for another victim. He exited the freeway in Pico Rivera. He came to the residence of John and Susan Rodriguez. He walked up to the front door and it was locked. He then tried the window and they were all locked. He walked to the side of the house and found an unlocked window. Richard pulled out the screen and then used a screwdriver to open the window. Inside the house, Susan woke up and called to John from her bedroom. "Did you open the window?" John said. "No, that window is painted shut." Richard, hearing this and losing the element of surprise, quickly left the yard and went back to his stolen car to cruise the freeway again.
Oh
Oof.
my gosh.
this is crazy because normally he would be in the house, and I think that them noticing him, obviously, it was again Miguel's teachings being like, you lost the element of surprise, so you have to leave. Like which is, it's still showing that he's not gone like full berserk yet. I know that sounds interesting to say, but he still has his wits about him, and he's still focused on not being caught, and still thinks that he can be caught, so he has to leave. Like, he's not full I am godlike yet, I am Satan-like yet. So he still has this air about him that he's still thinking, even thinking quickly during this part.
Yeah.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
I mean, so far he has killed 7 people and assaulted and raped 3. He was loose on the freeway and had not yet been labeled as a serial killer. He would only get emboldened as he felt like he was protected by Satan. Richard Ramirez was preparing for his next adventure to come, and we will get into those on the 3rd part of our 4-part series next week.
Thank you for listening to the Black Cat Report in our 2nd episode of our 4-part series on Richard Ramirez. All you babies named Richard Ramirez out there better turn out to be more of Little Richard than the Night Stalker. Also, please like, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you on the other side next week.